What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Saturday, August 24th, 2024, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now it is 17:52 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Eastern Europe and from the Middle East. And right now, we have two nuclear war command and control planes up in the air over the United States. We have one over the Ozarks in Arkansas. We have one off the coast of New Jersey doing loops and communicating with our submerged nuclear armed submarines. And these planes are responsible for remotely launching all of our Minuteman III ICBMs and also for communicating with our submerged nuclear armed submarines and issuing launch orders if necessary. So to have two of these up in the air on a Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening is definitely pretty unusual. Now, there was supposed to be a big strike on Ukraine by Russia. Today, Ukraine celebrated their Independence Day, but I think Russia delayed the strikes because the Prime Minister of India and the President of Poland visited Ukraine yesterday and today. The Polish President met Zelensky today in Kyiv and he gave a speech. So I think because of that, the Russians delayed their strikes. They're probably waiting for the Polish president to leave. So potentially later tonight or tomorrow, we could see a massive strike on Ukraine, but U.S. nuclear forces are on high alert. Now, in addition to these two nuclear war command and control planes we have up in the air this afternoon, I want to show you guys something pretty concerning from earlier this morning. So earlier this morning, we had a presidential Doomsday plane fly to Offutt Air Base from Colorado Springs, and then it was in Offutt Air Base for just about 2 hours, and then it flew back to Colorado Springs literally 2 hours after landing at Offutt Air Base. So this is the path of this plane leaving Colorado Springs and then landing in Omaha, Nebraska. If you don't know the significance of Colorado Springs, that's where Cheyenne Mountain Doomsday Bunker is located, and also where NORAD HQ is located. And Cheyenne Mountain is a giant bunker complex underneath a massive mountain right outside of Colorado Springs. The mountain is like 5,000 feet high, solid rock, and there's a bunker underneath that mountain. And it's for the president and VIPs to survive a nuclear war. So we've been seeing a lot of Doomsday planes going to Colorado Springs the last couple of days. Yesterday, we had one Doomsday plane take off from Colorado Springs, and it did a giant loop over the southwestern United States and then turned around and came back and landed at Colorado Springs. So that almost sounds like something spooked them, and they scrambled a VIP into the air on the Doomsday plane. And the Doomsday planes are the National Airborne Operations Center, NAOC. That is where the president, the defense secretary, the vice president can basically control the entire U.S. nuclear arsenal and the entire U.S. military. The Doomsday planes are impervious to EMPs. They have active and passive countermeasures if they come under attack from missiles or enemy fighter jets. But Offutt Air Base is home of STRATCOM. That's where the STRATCOM bunker is located. After 9/11, President Bush and Dick Cheney went there, and there's a bunker underneath Offutt Air Base. So basically going from one bunker to the other and then back again to the other bunker. So it's almost as if they picked somebody up at Offutt Air Base and then flew them back to Colorado Springs. That's what it seems like to me, because you can see here the registration is the same. It's 73-1676. You can see the timestamp here right around 1700 UTC time. So that was like early afternoon here. And then here you can see just 2 hours later, 1853 UTC time, this plane is already back in Colorado. So very, very strange. Not sure what's going on here. And then this was yesterday. You can see the Doomsday plane went to Nevada and California, and then it turned around and came back and landed in Colorado Springs. We had 3 nuclear bombers airborne yesterday, which is very unusual. And here's actually a picture of one of these nuclear bombers, a B-52, getting aerially refueled. This was taken by a subscriber of mine in Louisiana. Okay, so these B-52s were getting refueled in the air yesterday, which is very unusual to do over the continental United States. And then we also had this P-8 Poseidon sub-hunter active off the coast of Corpus Christi yesterday, which is very unusual. You never see them do anything like this. You can see that it was making probably over 100 passes here near Corpus Christi and then on up to Galveston, so possibly a Russian sub or something in the area. And there was also a sub hunter off the coast of Virginia Beach yesterday out here in the Atlantic, okay? And the U.S. is going to be sending a new package of urgently needed weapons and equipment to support Ukraine. This was stated by Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. And Russian mill bloggers have intelligence that the Ukrainian forces are about to launch a new offensive in the Bryansk region. The plan is to seize Russian territory between the border and natural barriers like the Nerusa and Sev rivers. Meanwhile, new tactical markings have appeared on Ukrainian military vehicles. And the Polish president, Andrzej Duda, said today in Ukraine that Poland has already trained 23,000 Ukrainian troops and that Polish PT-91 tanks are being used by Ukrainian forces in the Kursk region of Russia. And Germany is saying that Russian drones flew into northern Germany and over the Brunsbüttel nuclear power plant. According to German media reports, German authorities believe the drones are Russian and were sent from the North Sea. So very, very concerning. And here's a picture of the new tactical markings on the Ukrainian vehicles, which could indicate a new operation probably in Bryansk. Okay, earlier this week, Ukraine sent a reconnaissance force into Bryansk to probe the Russian defenses, a very small reconnaissance force. Now we see these trucks with new markings, so my guess is that we're going to see a full-scale invasion of Bryansk region maybe this week. Here's the Polish president in Ukraine today. And speaking of Poland, we had some very unusual activity last night in Poland. We had this Polish reconnaissance plane making this perfect loop over northern Poland near the border of Kaliningrad. Now, just a couple of days ago, a strange object crashed into the forests in northern Poland right near where this plane is looping here, and it had Russian writing on it. And then also there was a Polish border guard plane very close to the Belarusian border. And there was also a U.S. Air Force VIP plane that landed in Warsaw, came from Estonia, so probably a U.S. military general of some kind. And we had a lot of Russian Air Force planes going to Kaliningrad from mainland Russia. Here you can see 2 of them that went to Kaliningrad earlier this morning. And then we also had this NATO reconnaissance plane airborne at the same time as the Russian Air Force planes were going down there. So very concerning. Here we have a U.S. Navy sub-hunter that was active in the eastern Mediterranean off the coast of Lebanon, Syria, and Israel. Here we have a U.S. Navy sub-hunter that was patrolling the border of Estonia and Russia. So lots of reconnaissance there in Estonia. Here we have an Argentinian Air Force plane that landed in Cyprus yesterday. So I don't know if they're going to be evacuating Argentinian citizens from Lebanon, and that's why they brought this heavy plane to Cyprus. I'm not totally sure. And we had a lot of British Eurofighter Typhoons flying in southern Turkey along the border of Syria. Here you can see 2 British Eurofighter Typhoons along with British aerial refueler, a KC-2 Voyager. So this is very, very interesting. And we had a B-2 stealth bomber land in Australia on August the 21st and conduct a hot pit refueling exercise. I don't know if it was just one or several B-2s, but here you can see this picture of a B-2 landing in Australia, and a hot pit refueling maneuver is when the plane lands at an airfield, keeps its engines on, they refuel the plane while it's sitting there on the runway, and then as soon as it's refueled, it takes off. So this is clearly drills for something to happen in the Asia region or in the Middle East. Okay, they're practicing landing, refueling, and then taking off again. This is something that they would have to do, especially if they have to conduct some kind of bombing mission over, let's say, China or Iran or Lebanon or somewhere like that, okay? And Israeli officials said Biden asked for Israeli forces to be pulled out from a 1 to 2 kilometer strip along the Egypt-Gaza border. The area is adjacent to the Tel al-Sultan neighborhood, where a large number of displaced Palestinians are sheltering. So Biden wants Israeli forces to leave the Philadelphia axis. And White House spokesman John Kirby said that CIA Director Bill Burns arrived in Cairo on Friday and joined the talks on the Gaza ceasefire deal. And Biden spoke on the phone with the Emir of Qatar and with the President of Egypt about the ceasefire deal yesterday, and they discussed the negotiations. And the Egyptian president told Biden that a ceasefire must be reached in Gaza to prevent the expansion of the crisis in the region, the consequences of which would be dangerous for all the nations in the region. And India's prime minister urged President Zelensky of Ukraine on Friday to sit down for talks with Russia to end the war in Ukraine, and offered to act as a friend to help bring peace. And Belarus and China pledged to strengthen security ties. According to a joint statement, Beijing and Minsk pledged not only to strengthen security ties, but also to improve cooperation in the finance and energy sectors. And Ukrainian forces are planning to launch an attack on the Kherson region from the Black Sea, according to the Russian installed governor there, Vladimir Saldo. And senior officials in Israel are estimating that Hezbollah will attack Israel in the coming days as revenge for Israel taking out their number 2 leader. And the IDF spokesman, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, says Israel is ahead of a significant week. We are ahead of a significant week amid the ongoing negotiations in Cairo, the fighting in Gaza and on the northern border. Our readiness is very high in attack and defense, he said in an evening press conference. Hagari calls on the public to continue to be alert. He added that the military will update on any development immediately. And Yemeni forces successfully targeted a Greek oil tanker in the Red Sea, which was carrying 150,000 tons of oil. So they sunk a Greek oil tanker in the Red Sea the other day. And at least 3 people have been killed and many injured in a mass stabbing attack at a diversity festival in the German city of Solingen. German police say they have no clue as to the whereabouts of the suspect in the mass stabbing attack. And we had a lot of Chinese military activity around Taiwan the last 2 days. So yesterday we had 38 Chinese aircraft and 12 Chinese vessels operating around Taiwan. 32 of them crossed the median line. These are Chinese military aircraft and military vessels. And the day before that, 41 Chinese military aircraft and 7 Chinese military naval vessels were operating around Taiwan, and 32 of them crossed the median line. And we have a lockdown going on right now in the area of Oxford, Massachusetts, due to an outbreak of the Eastern equine encephalitis, which is a mosquito-borne disease. Residents are being told to stay indoors. Wow. So that's some of the latest breaking news. I might be back later on with more breaking news. I do have my 24/7 stream ongoing right now. I'll be popping in and out of that throughout the rest of the evening, and I will be back tomorrow for sure with more breaking news. But I'm monitoring our nuclear forces, I'm monitoring the radio frequencies, and if anything happens, I will update you guys live. So until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 P's: prepare, practice, and persevere. And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing their most aggressive discount yet on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparedness.com. They've lowered the price of their 3-month food supply from $800 down to $500. 3 months of emergency food for $500. That is a really good deal, and it will last you 25 years because it is freeze dried and it's all packed within 6 rugged water resistant buckets. So you have all that food in a small package. You can store that pretty much anywhere. And you can also take it with you. If you have to bug out, you can throw that in your vehicle easily. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $300 off the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, $500 for it. Also, they have free shipping and handling included. In addition to the 3-month supply, they also have a general store. And to get to their general store, you got to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see the My Patriot Supply logo at the very bottom of the page. You click on that, and it'll take you to their general store, and they have all kinds of discounts. And to get the deals, you got to use my link, preparewithnyprepper.com, and I'll leave the link in the description below this video.